I've been meaning to make a video on Kirby for such a long time, particularly Kirby in Smash. So in this video I'm going to be talking about Kirby. As you know, Kirby in Smash 64 was top tier. Kirby was arguably the best character, or at least one of the best characters in the game. But that didn't last long because in Super Smash Bros. Melee, it marked the fall of Kirby. It was Kirby's fall from grace. For me, I wanted to design a new Kirby who will be top tier or mid tier, because as you know in Smash Ultimate, Kirby is not top tier or high tier. So I want to bring back Kirby's glory days, or at least build a better Kirby, and that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. So in trying to design a new Kirby, I realized that Kirby in Smash Ultimate is sort of like a beginner character, a baby character that anyone can pick up and learn to play, and I don't want that to get lost or removed from the game. So what I do want is for them to introduce a new Kirby, sort of like how we have Link, Young Link and Toon Link. We can have Kirby and other Kirby versions. I also think it makes sense to have other versions of Kirby in Smash because Kirby has so many different games and different genres that he's been in, so it only makes sense to have other Kirbys. Why do we have 3 different Links but only one Kirby when there's a Kirby game that is out, like, I don't know, every 2 or 3 years? So I feel like it makes sense to have other alternate forms of Kirby rather than just having one Kirby with the same moveset in each game. So the first version of Kirby that I would like to talk about, or that I would like to see in the game, let's just call him Kirby no copy. So this version of Kirby will be Kirby who cannot copy other characters' abilities because he already has abilities. So what would happen is that when you press special, instead of Kirby using inhale, you would get a select menu, sort of like Shock. When Shock accesses the Monado arts, he can access 5 different Monado arts. This Kirby would be like that, where like when you press special, you'd get different Kirby abilities that you have access to instead of being able to copy other characters' abilities. So the biggest challenge in designing an alternate form of Kirby is that Kirby has too many powers or abilities. So I thought that I would go through some older Kirby video games and choose abilities from those games. And I thought that the best way to design this Kirby that can't copy abilities is by giving Kirby abilities that work well against most of the cast. As you know, Smash has a lot of sword fighters, so why not give Kirby a sword ability? So Kirby's first ability would be sword. So when Kirby uses sword, he has a sword and kind of becomes sort of like a sword character. By playing Kirby's Return to Dreamland, we can kind of see that there are some moves that can even function well as an air, up smash, specials, etc. So I really like Kirby's Return to Dreamland because it has so many moves that kind of could work in Smash. Maybe they just have to be nerfed a bit because they're a bit broken. So in Kirby's sword mode, it would give him a fair play against sword characters, since Kirby kind of struggles at mid-range because regular Kirby is a brawler, not really a sword character. So Kirby would have a better chance against sword characters in this form. The other form would be Wheel, which I got from Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Kirby would be able to roll like Sonic, although I'm thinking of changing this because I don't want Kirby to just be stalling, sort of like how Sonic does. Also, all these abilities would work like Monado arts, so they would only work for a couple of seconds. I don't know how long Monado arts last, okay? And also, maybe another thing would be that if you hit Kirby hard enough, he would lose the ability and go back to regular Kirby, because in the video games, when Kirby gets hit, he loses this copy ability or the star, but then there would have to be a set percentage that you have to hit Kirby for him to lose the ability. Like maybe you need to do 20% damage for Kirby to lose that ability, whatever. The next power would be Brawl. Kirby is already a brawler, but using the Brawl ability, he would have better combo potential and also better Q power and Q confirms than regular Kirby. The other ability is Archer, which I saw from Kirby Triple Deluxe. Kirby has a lot of projectiles in so many games, so I didn't know which one to choose. Like in Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, there's Laser, but I didn't really like Laser that much. There's also Cupid, but the problem with Cupid is that Kirby can fly, so I feel like Kirby would be really broken if he could fly in Smash. Also, how come Kirby gets to fly when characters like Pit and other characters cannot fly? It just doesn't make sense. So I thought of the Archer ability from Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and I thought that it's a good ability also because you can still shoot projectiles while moving, and there are also other moves that aren't really projectiles but could be useful in a fight. So I thought that that would also be a really great ability. And the last ability I'd give Kirby is Missile. So Kirby turns into a missile, so I like this because mostly it would be used off stage where you want to get rid of the character and you want to take a stock. So Missile would be used mostly off stage because you'd be guaranteed that you've taken a stock because it would cause a lot of damage. Or you could just throw it out in neutral just to surprise your opponent. But yeah, I think Missile would be really great for Kirby just to have a move that causes a lot of damage without any risk. One thing that I always hated about Kirby's side B is the whole charging the hammer and then gaining damage. To me that never made sense because Kirby is already a light character, so what's the point of gaining damage? It makes sense on a character like DDD who's heavy, who can afford to damage himself. So yeah, I think Missile would be a really good ability. So yeah, those are Kirby no copies powers. Another version of Kirby that I'd like to see is Kirby beta version. So this version of Kirby would be like regular Kirby, but the copy abilities would be better. One thing that Smash failed to do is to highlight Kirby's copy abilities. Even players who play Kirby don't really rely that much on copy abilities, which really sucks because I feel like in the Kirby video games the whole point is to copy other enemies' abilities, and Kirby doesn't just copy abilities, he makes them better, and that's something that I feel like Smash missed out. Maybe like Kirby could copy Ness's PK Flash and maybe it could come out faster or have a bigger hitbox, or copy Falco's laser and it could have longer range than regular Falco's laser, something like that, because I feel like Kirby's copy ability was just not really that well used in Smash, and I would like to see changes. I want Kirby's copied ability to be better than the character's regular ability, not just to be an exact copy. I'm sure there are differences between Kirby's copied ability and the character's ability, but I'm not really gonna go over that. But yeah, Kirby beta version would be Kirby that can copy the ability and literally make it better than just what it is. Maybe it would also be interesting if Kirby could copy more than one special. Maybe he could copy neutral special and side special, because I feel like a lot of characters have really good side specials in Smash, but maybe that would make Kirby really broken, so I don't know. Or they could also create new abilities from what Kirby copied from that character by seeing what that character does in their original game, but I feel like that complicates things because if you have to create new abilities for each copied character, Smash has such a big roster and it's so hard to design that. I would like to see Kirby that copies a character's ability and really makes it better, and it really changes the way Kirby plays against that character. It changes the matchup, because there are some matchups that are really bad for Kirby, but it would really be helpful or beneficial if you could copy that character's ability and then the matchup becomes bearable, because some matchups just look kind of impossible or undoable. I do think that that's one thing that Smash 6 needs, 2 or 3 different Kirbys. Having regular Kirby, baby Kirby that is a beginner is not that bad. Like, I still want to see that, or I'd still want to see that if they ever make another installment of the game. But I think it's time to also make the character more interesting, do something interesting. Kirby has so many different games and so many abilities that are never really explored in Smash, which really sucks and makes Kirby look kind of lame, I guess. But yeah, so I think one way of making Kirby great again is by having 2 or 3 different versions of Kirby: baby Kirby, Kirby no copy, and better Kirby. So yeah, that's what I would like to see. This video is really shorter than most of my other videos because I am not a video game developer or modder, is that what they're called? I don't really make video game mods, but one thing that I've liked seeing in the Smash community is all these different mods and all these different characters that people are designing that are that some of these mods are actually really good and really look like they would fit in the actual Smash game. Like if someone never played Smash or never saw Smash Ultimate and saw some of these mods, they'll just think, oh, that's just the character from the game. So for me, I don't know, maybe if I could, in case someone's a video game developer or a modder stumbles upon this video, please make a different version of Kirby. Make Kirby no copy or Kirby beta version, because I just want to see what that would look like if Kirby was a different character. But yeah, that's all from me. Also, a random side note, why wasn't Kirby's air puff thing ever added in Smash? Like this air thingy that he can do after doing his multiple jumps, like releasing the air and it being an attack. Why wasn't this ever added to Smash? I just find that so weird and so random.